Hello, pre-college math. We are taking notes on 6.3, more on factoring trinomials. Last time we had trinomials, quadratic trinomials, but in all of them, the a value was equal to 1. There was no number sitting in front of the x squared or variable squared. And when there's nothing in front, that means a 1. Now we're going to take a look at what do you do if there is a number in front of the x squared. A is greater than 1. There's two ways you can do it. By grouping, I call this the AC method. AC method. Or by unfoiling. Whichever method you're using, that's what you end up doing, but that's what the book calls it, by foil. I put the word un in front because that's what we're doing. We're reverse of foiling. We're not foiling, but the book calls it that. You'll see in the directions. Anyway, so AC method. It's called the AC method because that is your first step to multiply A times C. 6 times -1 is -6. Then what I do with -6 is we want to list all the factors of -6. So we could go -1 times 6, or 1 times -6, -2 times 3, or 2 times -3. And then what we want to do is choose the pair that adds to the B value. So we did that same, sorry, my phone was playing. We had that same idea with quadratic trinomials that are equal to 1. So we do the same thing. The two numbers have to multiply to A times C. That's what's different. And they have to add to the B value. Choose pair that has a sum of, that sums to the B value. In this case, it is +1. So we're going to choose -2 and +3. Then, when we have the easier kind, then you're done. You just write your two binomials, but it's not so easy anymore. Then what we do is use these two numbers to rewrite the original problem. So instead of writing 6r squared plus r, I'm going to replace that with -2r plus 3r minus 1. So I've replaced plus r with -2r plus 3r. And then we factor by grouping, exactly like we did in 6.1. I just look at the first two, and I take out the GCF. So out of 6r squared minus 2r, we can take out a 2r. Build our parentheses. 2r times 3r is 6r squared, minus 2r times 1 is -2r. Then we copy down the same, whatever's inside those parentheses, copy it down. And now I have to think, what would I have to sit in front? So it distributes to give us 3r minus 1. Well, it already is 3r minus 1, so there's just a 1 in front of those parentheses. And then this right here tells us our final answer. The binomial that's the same in each of them, that's one binomial for our answer. The other binomial is 2r plus 1. And that is the AC method. It'll go a little faster as we go, and I wanted to add on here, now factor by grouping, which is exactly what we did in 6.1. And remember, please always, always remember, I won't do every single problem, but you can FOIL to check your answers. 3r times 2r is 6r squared. Outside is, I'm going to write it down here, plus 3r. Inside is minus 2r, which combine those like terms gives us a plus r. And L for last, 1 times negative 1 is a minus 1. And so when we FOILed, we got the problem. So that means that's how you know you did it correctly. All right, here's another one. 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. Factors of negative 24, negative 4 and 6, 4, negative 6, negative 8 and 3, 8 and negative 3. There's a few other factors, but when you see your answer, you can stop. We needed them to add to negative 5, so negative 8 and positive 3. Now I rewrite my original. 12z squared minus 8z plus 3z minus 2, and then factor by grouping. 12z squared minus 8z, we can take out a GCF 4z, build my parentheses. 4z times 3z is 12z squared minus 4z times 2. And look at that, over here it's the same thing again. 3z minus 2, so that means there's a 1 in front. Final answer, 3z minus 2 times 4z plus 1. And I want to show you something here. When you're doing this step, you're rewriting. What if you chose to put the 3 first and the 8 second? I'm going to show you that it doesn't matter. 12z squared, because if you're just choosing two numbers, like, how do you know what order they should be in? So I'm going to switch them around now. I'm going to put the 3z first and the minus 8z second, and then the rest of it was minus 2. And I'm going to factor by grouping just as we do. This time we can take out a 3z, and then we would have 4z plus 1. And then over here, I'm going to copy down 4z plus 1. And sitting in front of my parentheses then would have to be a minus 2. Negative 2 times 4z is negative 8z. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Final answer, 4z plus 1 times 3z minus 2. And as you can see, these are the same exact answer, it's just the binomials are written in a different order, and that doesn't matter because it's just multiplying. It doesn't matter if you write 2 times 3 or 3 times 2, they both give you 6. If you FOIL these out, you're still going to get, both of them are going to give you the problem. All right? So this one, now you can see that extra variable in there. Well, just like in last time's notes, it just means that in our 2 answer, there's going to be m's for the first number, and then there's going to be n's for the second positions, not number, but position. I still do the same exact thing though. A times C. A times C is negative 30. All right. I'm thinking 3 and 10. 3 and negative 10, or negative 3 and 10. How about 5 and 6? Negative 5 and 6. 5 and negative 6. And there's more factors, but I'm done because negative 5 and positive 6 adds to positive 1. So I'm just going to make that a little skinnier. There we go. So we're rewriting our problem, 10m squared using our new numbers. Minus 5mn, you got to use whatever variables the middle ones are, plus 6mn minus 3n squared. And now factor by grouping. First pair, we can take out 5m. 5m times 2m is 10m squared, minus 5m times n is minus 5mn. Copy down 2m minus n, and now what would have to sit in front here? So it distributes to 6mn minus 3n squared. Well, I would need a 3 to give us the 6, so I'm undistributing, and we would also need the n. 3n times 2m is 6mn. 3n times negative n is negative 3n squared. You always want to distribute that to double check. And final answer then, 2m minus n, because that's the same. And our other binomial, 5m plus 3n. You take these guys that are sitting in front, and those come together to be your two binomials. All right. I would like you to do the now try exercises just at the end, because I'm on a time crunch here. We've got to get through these because it's almost 9:30. Oh my gosh. Okay. Here you've got to be careful because sometimes you have to take out a common factor first. Because when I look at this, I go, oh, that's not even a quadratic trinomial. Because we can take out a number first. So it looks like, what number could we take out of there? 28. I could do 7 or 4. Probably a 4, huh? 58 divided by 4. Nope. 58 divided by 4. Nope, doesn't work. Maybe just a 2. Yeah, 58 divided by 2 is 29. So let's take out a 2x to the third. Remember, for your variables, you choose the smallest exponent. So taking out a 2x to the third, then we would have 14x squared minus 29x minus 15. Ooh, this is going to be a big one. Then what happens is inside these parentheses, that is a quadratic trinomial. We need to factor that guy down. So our final answer here is going to look like this. It's going to have the 2x to the third in front, and then the pink part is going to turn into two binomials. So, so let's do that. Let's factor the part that's in the parentheses. AC method, 14 times 15 is 210. That is going to be a negative 210 because it's a negative 15. And then my two numbers have to add to negative 29. So this is going to take a while. 210 divided by 2 is 2 and 105. So instead of writing both pairs where one is negative and then the other one is negative, I'm just going to leave them positive, and then so I don't have to list them all out. And so I'll just know in my head, okay, one of these guys has to be negative. 210 obviously is, oh, it is divisible by 3, duh. 3 times 70. 210 divided by 4 doesn't work. 210 divided by 5 is 42. 210 divided by 6 is 35. And 35 minus 6 is 29. We found them. So that would have to be then a negative 35 and a positive 6. So I'm going to rewrite my problem. 14x squared plus 6x minus 35x minus 15. And now we will factor by grouping. First pair, we could take out, looks like a 2x. Then I would have 7x plus 3. Copy down 7x plus 3. And sitting in front of my parentheses would have to be a negative 5. Negative 35x minus 15. So now I know my answer. My two binomials, one binomial is the 7x plus 3. And then my other binomial, 2x minus 5. All right. Factoring a trinomial with all positive terms by using FOIL. So technically it should be unfoil. So instead of using the AC method, what I do is I just look at our quadratic trinomial. We know it has to be two binomials. And so this is how I do it in my, basically you're guessing and checking. What would be in there so that we get this guy as our answer? So what I do is in FOIL first and last, I copy on those. I concentrate on those at first. Things that could multiply to give us 8p squared. 1p times 8p or 2p times 4p. And I'm just going to choose one. I'm going to choose the 2 and the 4. Honestly, I feel like they use the factors more than the number times itself. Then I jump over to the last term. Things that multiply to give you 5 are only 1 times 5. So the choice in here, does the 1 go first and then the 5? Or is the 5 first, so I'm going to write them both down, with the 1 second. So here's the guess and check part. You just got to FOIL this out and test which one of these is it. Now, since we already took care of the F and the L, we know we have the F and the L, 8p squared, positive 5. 8p squared, positive 5. Now we just have to check the outside and inside. So all I have to do is do the outside and inside on each of these. Outside is 10p, inside is 4p. That adds to 14. Oh, look, I guessed right on the same on the first try. Let's show you how I would know it doesn't work. Outside is 2p, inside is 20p. That adds to 22. So it's not this guy. And I, of course, got to put the signs in there, the plus signs. My bad. And this guy is our answer. Here's another one. So we have to multiply. We could, to give us 6x squared, we could have 1x times 6x or 2x times 3x. And then for 3, we only have the one choice. Again, I'm just gonna randomly guess that it's 2x and 3x, not x and 6x. And then our 3 and 1. So let's try 1 and 3. Outside then would be 6x. Oh, look at this. Negative. So C is positive, so 1 times 3, that they would both have to be negative. Anyway, and inside 1 times 3x is 9x. Well, those don't add to 11. So I'm going to now switch around my 1 and the 3. Now our outside is 2x, our inside is 9x, and if they're both negative, then they're going to add to negative 11. So 2x minus 3, 2x minus 1. FOIL to check, FOIL to check. All right, here's another one. This time Our C value is negative. That's okay. So doing our guess and check, unfoiling here. Again, for the 8x squared, I'm just going to hope that it's 2x and 4x. And then for 9, so we could have 3 times 3 or 1 times 9. I'm gonna go for 3 and 3. Over here it was 1 times 8 or 2 times 4. I chose 2 times 4. And then your last terms have to multiply to negative 9. So one of these 3's has to be negative. So to figure out which one, again, I'm just going to check the outside and inside. Outside is 6x. Inside is 12x. So in order to add to positive 6, I would want the 12 to be positive and the 6 to be negative. The 6x came from the outside, so that 3 would be negative on the right-hand side. And then on the inside, we would want it positive to give us a positive 12x. And there we go. And I think there's just 2 more. Here we've got the extra variable in here. And we've got actually a lot more choices for 12 and 20. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, or 3 times 4. For 20, 1 times 20, 2 times 10, or 4 times 5. You know what? I'm going to make a guess here. 2 and 6. No, let's try 3 and 4. And 4 and 5. Let's try those. It's just guess and check. You guess, you FOIL it out to check it. So I'm going to guess my first terms are 3 and 4, so 3a and 4a. And now I'm guessing 4 and 5. So I'm just going to throw them in and FOIL to see where my signs would need to be, or if I need to rearrange my 4 and my 5. Outside is 15a. Inside is 16a. They have to add to negative 1, so we would want a negative 16a with a positive 15a. So the inside has to be negative, so the first one. Outside positive, so the positive is on the 5. And common factors first. Common factor. It's not a quadratic trinomial, but I notice we can take out 5y. Build my parentheses. That would be 3y squared plus 11y plus 6. And now inside the parentheses, we've got our 5y still sitting there. Okay, things that multiply to 3y squared would be y and 3y. I guess it didn't matter what order I put those in. Things that multiply to 6, 2 and 3 or 1 and 6, so I'm going to guess 2 and 3. So I'm just going to throw them in here like I have been doing and check it. So right now I'm only looking at these. I'm ignoring the 5y. And I'm going to check my outside and inside. Outside is 3y. Inside is 6y. That adds to 9. I need an 11. So I'm going to switch around my 2 and my 3. 3 here, 2 here. Outside 2y, inside 9y, those add to 11, so we're good. And these are all positive. So there we go. Another one, this time when the front one is negative, you're going to want to factor out the negative. So my GCF, I want to make negative, and let's see, 45. You just pick one of your numbers. And I think a 3 is all we're going to be able to take out of these. 3a. Build my parentheses. Then I would have 8a squared 42 divided by 3 is 14, so plus 14a. And 45 divided by 3 is 15, so that would be a minus 15. Negative times negative is positive. All right, now we've got to factor what's inside here. Negative 3a times our two binomials. So things that multiply to 8a squared, 2a and 4a. Things that multiply to negative 15. So I've got to try a couple of different things here. Negative 3 and 5, or 3 and negative 5. So again, I'm just going to throw in the 3 and the 5 and foil, actually not foil, but the O and the I to check it. Outside 10a, inside 12a. So those aren't going to give me a combination to get to 14a. So let's switch around the 5 and the 3. Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to do that. So the 5 first and the 3 second. Outside is 6a. Inside is 20a. We need them to add to positive 14. So it'd be positive 20 and a minus 6. So that'd be a negative on the outside ones, so a negative 3, and a positive on the inside ones. All right, please do the now try exercises, and then you can check your work on Teams in the files section. You can pull up the answers.